Okay, good morning everyone and welcome to today's CropWalker webinar where we'll be looking at chemical plans. This is the first session looking at chemical plans. So today we'll be looking at that, creating a plan, and then look at the product maintenance area of CropWalker. This is related to the list of chemicals that you have in your CropWalker system that comes from our project database. And how you can manage this list to make it easier for yourself to work with. Okay, so if I have a look what we're going to run through today, I'll start off with an introduction to the webinar. There are a few things you need to remember about this, and then move on into CropWalker and look at Agchem plans. First of all, how to create an Agchem plan and a few hopefully time-saving tips in this area to help you with this process. We'll then just go through how the pesticide audit works. That's our project system that audits the chemicals in a plan. And then move on, like I said, to product list maintenance, and that is managing your list of chemical products in your CropWalker. This is your own personal list, so you can manage it as you want. Finally, I'll look at the reports that can be generated out of CropWalker for your chemical plans. So first of all, what the job sheet looks like for plans and how you can view that and email it to whoever you need to. We'll then look at the application report area, which has a number of different reports, and these are for plans that have been confirmed. I'll finish off today by summarising what we've gone through. And just reminding you about the next webinar. Okay then, so just a few things about the webinar that you need to remember. I'll be pausing after each of those sections in the agenda to answer any questions that you send through. And the other thing is that this is being recorded, so this recording will be available for you to view in your own time if you need to look back on any areas. Okay, so to start off looking at creating chemical plans, I just go out of this and into CropWalker. I open up my Agchem plan screen and just click on this icon. It's a shortcut to the area where you can make a plan. Okay, so I'm just going to run through this screen from top to bottom. The first thing here is plan name. You can assign the plan name just so you can recognise the plans that you've made more easily. If you haven't done this before, you won't have anything in this drop-down list when you click it. And to add a new plan name, you just need to click onto that plan name type header. You can then add the name of your new plan. Click save, and then close out of there, and then have that plan in the list. So just go through that again. Click onto plan name type, then onto new, and the name of your plan. Save that and close. Okay, so if I then select the plan name I want, next thing is I can set a plan date. This defaults to today's date, but I can always set that back if I'm entering plans retrospectively. Moving down into the next area, I need to select the crop that I'm treating. I then get a list in that box below of all the fields that contain this crop. And just while we're in this screen, I'll show you something that will hopefully save you time when making plans. You can see that you've got this grid here with different column names, and some of you might not have that set up, and I'll just show you where you can get that kind of view for your field picker. set up. So if you go to Tools and then Options, I go to this field, pick a tab at the end, and I just need to make sure I haven't got Use Classic View. I need to make sure I haven't got that ticked. And then I'm able to use all these buttons here, and I can select the columns that I want to view when making plans. So to do this, you just need to take the columns that you wish to view across onto the right-hand side. Okay, so that's the classic view. You need to make sure you don't have that ticked. So if I just go back to my plan screen then, and select my crop again. Once I have this non-classic view set up, I can then sort by any of these column headers. So for example, I can sort by variety there. What I can then do by clicking onto the first field I wish to treat, holding down Shift and selecting that block of varieties, I can then just move only fields containing that variety across. Okay, so moving down the bottom half of the screen, the next thing will be to select my product. So I do this just by clicking into the row and then have a drop-down list of products. And this is the list that I'm going to run through managing in a moment. So in here I can actually just type straight into this box to save having to scroll all the way through the list. If I then click out of that box, you can see that the rate and the reasons can automatically be filled in for me. This is just because I've used that product before, and it remembers the last rate and reason that I set for that product. Okay, so further down the screen, you've got the prop date, which is the proposed application date. This can be set to whenever you are proposing to apply that chemical. Next thing, you can see that water volume and spray quality are already filled in. And this is because in this sprayer area here, I've already got a machine selected. That's my default machine. And I've entered the water volume and the spray quality against this machine. So if I show you how to do that, you can do that by clicking onto the sprayer link, which just opens up the machinery screen of CropWalker. You then click to add a new machine, select the category to be sprayer, or band or aerial sprayer, whichever is required. You've then got the area to enter water volume and capacity and spray quality, as I mentioned. You just need to enter all these details, and if it's the machine that you're using for most of your plans, you can set it as the default machine, so it will appear as it has done in my plan automatically when you're creating plans. So if you enter all the details and click Save, and close back out of there, it takes you back to your plan and you haven't lost what you were working on. Okay, so that's the sprayer. The other area is your operator, and this is much the same. You can choose an operator if you have them set up, and to do that you can just click onto the operator header there. On the left here, the notes area. This is a free text box, so you can enter just by typing into this box. You can enter whatever you need. You've also got comments and a list of comments that you've previously used. You can select one of these from the list. Alternatively, if the comment required isn't in the list, you can add a new comment by clicking on the Live Comments header, clicking New, entering your comment, clicking Save. Okay, so if I close out there, I'm back to my plan. The next thing, once I've entered all the details required, I just click on to make plan, and this is where I mentioned the project chemical audit. This is where this runs the plans through that process to see that you're not applying too much of a chemical, or that chemical hasn't been taken off the market, etc. It just means you're complying with legal guidelines. So if I click on to make plan, you can see the project audit window open, and you can see there that I've got 0 project warnings, and that text is in black. If there are warnings that appear, this will turn red and then display information of the warnings in this area below. I click to make that plan, and then close out of here. So that was creating plans and also the pesticide auditing process with ProCheck. And now I'm going to move on and have a look at product list maintenance and just run through a few scenarios with this area of CropWalker. Okay, so back into CropWalker, and the product list can either be accessed from the main menu bar by expanding that system data heading and clicking on the Agchem products. Alternatively, whilst you're making a plan, you can access this screen by clicking onto the product header, and this opens on top of the plan screen, so you won't lose anything that you're working on. Okay, so if I just go out of here and just go through the process of making a plan, and then I get to the product section, and the product that I want to apply to my field is not in this list here. So if I just click on that product header, the first scenario is that that product might not be visible in that list when making a plan, but if I come into this product area and type the product in here, it might be that that product just is not visible, as I said, when making plans. So if you click to find your product, by typing into the search box, you can see it didn't find it there because I spelled it wrong, but you can see that that product is actually in this expanded list of products, but it doesn't have a tick in that visible column, hence why it isn't appearing when making plans. So if I just put a tick in that column now, and close back out of there, by now typing there, you can see that that product is now in my list of products. Okay, the other scenario is that maybe the product you want is not in this list either. So if I go in here, and choose a product that isn't in this list, you can see that Agosto is not in this list. At this point you can add it into this list and it will then be available to make plans with. So to add a new product, I just click onto this new button at the bottom left hand side of the product screen. You can then see this grid opens at the bottom of the screen and the cursor is automatically in the ProCheck product list. This is because all products need to be synchronized with the project product in order that the audit system works. Okay, so if I just start typing my product there, and just something to note here, it doesn't appear with this product, but you want to look, there may be more than one product with the same name in this list, and you just want to select the product that has the highest, well, generally the highest number, because this will be the most up-to-date product. Okay, you can then see this comes from our project database, which comes from Fera. You can then see that it fills in all the details about this product, the units, and the classification that is saved against it, and also enters the product name for me. So once you've entered the details of this product, you can just save. It will then be in your list here. It will also be ticked as visible, so it will appear when making plans as well. Okay, so that is the scenario of a product not appearing in your products list when making plans, but that product being within this list, and also then that product not being available in either list. So I've just run through how to add a completely new product there. The next thing I'm going to look at is I'm going to run through these buttons just to explain everything about the products making on the screen. So the first button here, export, it's fairly self-explanatory. That just exports your list of products into an Excel spreadsheet. If you want to store that on your computer for your records for any reason. Next area down, automatically match. As I was saying when I set up that new product just then, you must have products linked with a project product in order for the audit system to work. And these two buttons, automatically match and advanced match, just apply to products that you haven't linked with a project product. It just means that they assign a project product to that chemical so that it will go through the audit process if it's used in the chemical plan. So if I just show you how that works, I'm going to use Agosto as an example again, so I just get rid of that for the moment. And then we just go and enter that product without linking it to a project product. I'll just have to refresh this screen by going out of it and back into it. You can now see that Agosto is in that list without a project product linked to it. So if I click on this automatically match button, you can see that it's assigned a project product to that. It hasn't given the manufacturer or the product registration number though, so I just need to refresh this screen by going out of it and back in again. So you can now see that that's assigned a project product to that chemical Agosto. So to go through the advanced match button, has a similar process. And I'll just get rid of that product again to use it as an example. This advanced match is for perhaps if there's a slightly different spelling, it will pick this up and suggest a product that it should be linked with. So if I enter Agosto there, spelled slightly differently, and save that, and go back into this screen, you can see there it's not linked with a project product. If I now click the advanced match, it will make a suggestion of which project product to sync that with. If I just click yes at that point, then that product will be linked with a project product in this screen. Okay, moving down the screen, the next button, update, replace products. This just makes sure you're completely up to date with your list of project products. The project update, database update should update weekly automatically for you to make sure you've got the most recent products in your list. But you can also do this manually by clicking onto this Update Replace Products button. So if I click there now, it gives me a list of user products that aren't linked with the most recent project products. You can see that the first one there, Adjust, is currently linked to a product with a lower registration number, meaning it's not so up to date. And if I choose to update this, it will be automatically replaced by that more recent version of the product. So in this screen, you can just choose to select all products and update them all at once. Click on Select All. If you want to, if you click Remove All, you can then choose which products you wish to update by manually picking them one by one. The other thing is you can choose for this screen to open on starting CropWalker, so it will just flag up when there are new project products to be updated. The only other thing to note here before I choose to update all these products is sometimes the name of the product might be replaced and it might be slightly different. You can see there EA Lambda has been replaced by a product just called Lambda. So you might just want to check that you made a note of this. Okay, so if I choose to update all, then just click on the Update Products, and that will then match those user products with the latest project product. Moving down then through those buttons, first of all, the next one down, Show All Products. That just means it will put a tick into all the boxes, into all the visible boxes, meaning that all the products in this list, and it is a long list, you can see there are 2,000 products there, meaning that all the products will then be available when making plans in that product list drop down. This might just slow down your list when making plans. So you just want to be careful about doing that. Next button down. Before I move on to that, actually, if I just click on that Show All Products button, like I said, that will just make all those products visible, and it's a warning, just to highlight that it will take more time to open the Create Plans area of CropWalker. So it just gives you a warning there. Okay, moving then down to the next button, Hide Unused Products from the Product List. And you can see here that you've got a used column of all chemicals that you've used previously. We'll have a yes next to them. And you can see there that I've got some products visible that I haven't actually used. And what this button does is it just removes that tick from the visible column for these unused products, meaning that they won't appear in my list when creating chemical plans. So if I tick that there, you can see those first few that haven't been used will not appear in my list anymore. If I just go out of here, I can show you that. So the first one was 240. You can see that that is no longer in the list. Okay, so that is that's the product list maintenance scene. Just a few ideas to help you manage your products better and to hopefully make it easier when you're making chemical plans for you. The next area I'm going to move on to is looking at the reports area of CropWalker. First of all, how to view any plans that you make. So these can be passed on to your customer, onto the farmers or onto the contractors to apply these plans to the fields. And then I'll have a look at the application reports that can come out of CropWalker. Okay, so if I go back to CropWalker itself, if I go out of this chemical plan area now, and to access reports, first of all, they can be accessed if I just go back into that plan area. If you want to view them, immediately after you've made those plans, you can just click onto this print button in the bottom right hand side of the Agchem plan screen. This then opens print plans area. Before I go through that, I'll just show you if you're making a series of plans and then you go out of the plan screen and want to get back to that print preview area, you can access that from reports in the top left hand side here by clicking on the print plans. Okay, so this second area down in this screen now is just a list of information you can customize what will appear on your job sheets. So for example, that first one there, show print date. I have that selected. Today's date will appear on the plan sheet. These are fairly self-explanatory. You could just work through them and customize your plans as you want. Moving down then, next area, you can see as I made a plan today, that farm has already come through into the select farm area. That is because this select plan by area, that defaults to today's date, so it will pick up any plans that have been made within that date range. So if nothing's appearing in that select farm area, you might just need to set this from date back a few weeks or so. Okay, so once I've chosen any options that I want to appear on my plan there, I can just click onto Print Preview to show me what this will look like before I either print or email it. So you can see there, you've got the farmer's details, contact details at the top of the page. You then move down and you've got field information, so which fields need spraying, and then their cropping and area information, the size of each of those fields. The reason we've got different colour text here, the red text is just the important information that needs to be highlighted in that plan, and then we've got green text for all the column headers. So just to make it clear what needs applying, you've got field name in red, and then the treatable area, which can be different from the size of the field, also in red. Next area down is product information. Again, the product appearing in red, and then the rate that that product should be applied at. At the bottom of this area, you've got the confirmation area for that plan. So once that plan has been applied, the operator can enter application details here, date, start and finish time, and weather details. The H there stands for humidity, and that can then come back to be input back into CropWalker as a confirmed plan. Okay, so to print or email this plan, first of all, you've got print on the top left-hand side. If you want to file that for your records, you can just print it out and then hand it out manually. If you wanted to email it, that's where this export button comes in. So if I click onto that, you've then got two options, export to email and export to Adobe PDF. So export to email, what that does is it just attaches this file as a PDF and automatically enters the farmer's email address. that you've got saved in CropWalker. So if I show you how that looks, there you've got an email message with the plan attached and the farmer's email address already entered. So that can then just be sent. The export to baby PDF just means that you can save this on your system anywhere you wish to do so. And finally, you can just see these areas here. This is done just on a plan-by-plan basis. So that's in the plan there that I made earlier today for that farm. Close out of that now. The next area I'm just going to look at before I finish is the application reports area. So this can be found under reports and application reports. You've then got a list of different reports that can be produced in this window. The first one that's selected is the application summary. And I'll just show you what this looks like for a few fields. So if I then select all my winter barley fields, and print preview, I've then got a field by field list of all plans that have been made, whether they're confirmed or not. So you can see that on that first field, you've got the plan date, the product, the field area, and the rate, and then in this applied column, you will either have NC, which means that plan hasn't been confirmed within CropWalker, or a date. And so you can see there where the confirmation details have been entered back into the system. Okay, so that just works on a field-by-field basis, starting with common patch and just working through each field and listing all the plans that have been made on those fields, both confirmed and unconfirmed. So that's really just a summary report with a limited amount of details, but useful for seeing what's been applied to which fields quickly. So if I click out of there, the next one, application details. If I select that and select some fields, I click print preview this report. This just gives a bit more detail again for each field and what has been applied, but it gives the reason for that plan, the plan rate and the actual rate. And again on a field-by-field basis. Finally, if I just go into the application analysis report and select the field I wish to do that for, this is even more of a breakdown of the plans that have been made on my fields, and that takes a bit longer to load. And this has got, you can see at the end there, the difference here, it's got harvest interval information and safe harvest dates. Again, that's done by separating out each field. This also contains, you can see harvest information where that has been entered into CropWalker. Okay, so that's the final useful report that I'm going to show in CropWalker. The last thing I'm just going to look at is if I'm in the Agchem plan screen, I'm in the middle of making a plan and I want to look back onto what has previously been applied to those fields. I just first need to have some fields selected. I then need to select one field by clicking onto it, which highlights it in blue, and then go to the top right hand side and click this Show Previous button. What appears then in that screen is just a list of the chemicals that have previously been applied to that field if I need to look back for reference. So that's the Show Previous button in the Agchem plan screen. The other option here to view a sort of field diary is to click the F9 button on your keyboard. So if I click that, you've then got, for that field, and you can switch 3 fields to view the different fields of that farm, you've then got a list of every operation that has been carried out on that field, so fertilizer, chemical, seed, harvest information, and that goes back as far as you've been using CropWalker to give you an idea of what has been done in the past. The other thing about that is that it also opens up on top of the Agchem plan screen, so if you're working on a plan, want to look at that without losing the information you've entered, it just opens on top. So if I close out from there, I've still got my fields and all the information that I've entered in that Agchem plan screen. Okay, so if I close out of CropWalker now, just go back to what I was going to cover today. There I've showed you the few reports that we have in CropWalker, so the job sheet report and then a few application reports. Finally, I just showed you the Show Previous and the F9 buttons, which just give you a previous field diary to look back on what's been done in the past to those fields. Okay, so that's everything I've got time for in today's webinar. I can just remind you that this has been recorded, so if there are any areas that you want to look back on, you'll be able to access these from the recording. Thanks very much, everyone, and look forward to seeing you in the next webinar. Bye. Bye-bye.